Hey there, it's Rusty Nelson, your college art professor, and we're talking watercolor today. Hey, welcome new viewers and returning viewers, people who will actually come in and watch me talk to a camera for 15 minutes once a week, every week. Been doing this for about 1 year and 10 months, closing in on 2 years. So season 3 is about to start before long, and we are making some progress ever so slowly in this channel, providing some tutorials on watercolor, on drawing, figure drawing, observational drawing, just ink drawing, a whole host of subjects that I teach up at the university, typically in the course of a 15-week semester. So that's the kind of content you're going to be getting if you're joining this channel for the first time. I'm here, a soon-to-be retiring college art professor. I typically teach in the graphic design area, but I'm old enough that I went through college pre-computer where graphic designers worked with and had all the same traditional skills as a studio artist. So I learned all of that the hard way with traditional media back in the day, working with oil paints and acrylic paints and color pencils, ink, pen and ink, as in dipping that freaking nib into ink and then drawing. Didn't do a lot of markers at that time, so really didn't get introduced to marker comps and stuff until I got into my first jobs in advertising. So then I discovered the joys and the pretty cool things you can do with markers. And mainly because everything we used to do was visualized by hand. We were the computer screen. Graphic designers had to put everything down and marker it up before anything was produced. So anyway, that's what we're doing on this channel. We're providing lessons in a whole host of art styles, manners, and techniques that might benefit people who are maybe mid-career, starting to think about retirement. You know, retirement's coming in pretty quick. You can see maybe you're within 10, 15 years of it. And frankly, that sounds like a long time, but I can tell you, as somebody who's almost ready to retire in May, that time goes by really fast, especially once you get the kids out of the house, right? That next 10 years just flies by. Anyway, that's where we're at. And even the retired people already neck deep in retirement, and you're looking for something to do. That's what I'm here to do, is to show you the joys and the benefits of getting started by picking up a pencil, picking up a brush, and starting to do something creative. Get you out of the house, get you doing things, turning off that damn TV and the 24 news hour cycle, right? Turn that crap off and start observing. Go outside. Hell, it's as easy as that. Just step outside your own residence and look for the interesting things. And once you start observing, all sorts of things start opening up possibilities. Times of days, you're going to try, maybe it's the same subject matter, you go out and look at it different times of the day and study it that way. Draw it in pencil, drawing it in charcoal, drawing it in ink, watercoloring it. All of these things are going to open up to you once you just make that decision and commit to a creative journey. And that's what I'm here to do and to help you get started with. So with these free tutorials and demos that I've been posting out there for almost 2 years now. So, and I started that mainly because I knew I needed and wanted something to do in retirement. I really do enjoy teaching up at the university. It's just time to go, man. It's just time to move on to the next thing. I'm ready for it. My wife's ready for it. We're kind of moving back into the area from where we're originally from. My wife and I are both from the same area. So we're looking forward to kind of reconnecting with people, but also still being able to do things that I've spent my entire career creatively working with. All these techniques and things I learned in college, in my advertising career, and all the new things that I've had to develop in 28 years of teaching graphic design. We went from traditional media and moved it into the digital stuff, right? So everything we're doing in graphic design is done on computers, done on tablets, done on your freaking phone as well. So it's been a crazy ride. And I think I've seen like three or four different variations of the technology disruptions in my field. And that first one being desktop publishing and how it really reshaped the whole industry and led us into where we're at right now. So I think I've seen 3 to 4 different disruptions, and we're currently trying to figure out what to do with the most current disruption, which is AI. A lot of people can, poo-poo it and dismiss it, say don't work with it, but it's here, it's going to be used. So that industry that I teach in currently, we have to figure out what does that mean for what we need to teach our students. So, but I'm going to be able to ignore that really soon and just get back to the basics, get back to my traditional media, the things I love doing, which are watercolor and drawing. Drawing is my run home to mama comfort zone skill set. That's what I started out doing for so many years before I ever started painting, and didn't really start painting until I was in high school. Even, I remember being in grade school and those hour-long art times we had in class in grade school and junior high, where you were given tempera paint to paint with and the world's shittiest brushes to try to do something with. I hated painting. It wasn't until high school I finally got a great art teacher who got us some decent supplies, decent brushes, and showed us how to do stuff. So that's kind of, like I said, drawing's my run home to mama comfort zone. And watercolor, though, has been something that I've evolved into from working with acrylic painting first, and then into college working with oil painting, and then worked with color pencil all through college. And I realized at some point along the way that those were control media, right? It just naturally appeals to the sense of control, all the dibby-dabby and, sensitive smoothing out of blends and this and that. It wasn't until I started working in advertising, trying to get a good base for freelance illustration work, that I realized it was wet media, gouache, and watercolor that a lot of the illustrators were working with. So I transitioned over to gouache, which ultimately led to an evolution into watercolor, full on transparent watercolor. And it was a great decision. It really opened up a lot of potential for subject matter and scenes and really just a whole range of things that you can do and work with that look pretty cool pretty quick. Because I know as a aging out professor, I don't have the time or the patience anymore for 8, 10, 12-hour long paintings and stuff. I want to get in there, do something within an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours max, and have something that looks cool, and watercolor allows that. So that's my pitch for getting in here and learning watercolor, especially in retirement. You can produce a hell of a lot of work with the time remaining. It sounds kind of ominous. You can really produce a lot of work with watercolor. So get in there and order yourself some pans and some colors and some brushes, and you're going to have a lot of fun. So hopefully I'll make that fun and something that you'll be looking forward to doing. So anyway, what's going on this week? I did post an ink tutorial last Saturday about drawing like a gnarly looking tree trunk, and it's all about descriptive lines, cross contour lines, shading lines, and all, just how you use the ink line and your mark making to describe a gnarly old tree trunk. It's kind of fun. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. There's so much you can do with just simple line. So, and grabbing a marker, and I think I was working with brush markers on that. So they're kind of fun. You get a really nice variety of line weight when you're working with a brush marker. So, or you can grab a nice nib pen and get the same thing if you want. If you like dipping, and if you're really that old school, hardcore old school, get that little jar of ink and a pen and ink nib. You're going to be golden doing the same thing. So I do have coming up a quick ink, line, and color wash demo this Saturday coming up. It's of a kitten, little cat. So that's my to-do list item for this coming Saturday, and I got a whole host of other to-do list things. I do intend to get back into my figure drawing and face drawing demos. I know people are really interested in that. That it typically shows on the amount of views I get whenever I post those type of tutorials. People are interested in drawing people, so be it full figure or faces and stuff. Been doing a lot of demos for my students, mainly getting practiced up on that for my illustration class coming up in the spring. So I'm getting my digital skills kind of honed up and ready to go for them this coming, my last semester leading into May. And let's see here. Yeah, I've been busy working on that. Had some comments. People like some people are going back in. I've seen some comments on some really old ones. One of my earlier ones of the barn. Barns are fun. Old architecture, dilapidated buildings and stuff. They just have a lot of character and fun to draw. Somebody was, I can't remember which video it was. Somebody was commenting about I had a senior moment. I couldn't remember something, so they gave me a thumbs up on that. And again, with the faces, with the figures, there are multitudes of methods and techniques and ways of doing things. Old school ways, learning all the bones and muscle structures, or there's more of the shapes and getting the big primary shapes and then refining those shapes into the figures. And then those who are really determined that you really have to have the method, understand the methods and the structures and everything first before you can dive into anything. But ultimately, there's ways of doing it, right? No one way is the best. Some yield better results than others. Depends on what you're wanting, where you're taking it. With watercolor figures, those little figures and scenes and stuff, you just have to roughly know the proportions of the body and have a confident stroke in your hand for that figure to read properly. And that takes a lot of practice. Learning how to draw the face, either Riley method, Loomis method, the blocking, the shape blocking methods, those as well require a lot of practice. And figure drawing, just understanding how the figures work, learning your foreshortening, all of those things. It's not rocket science. It just is basic shapes, forms, structure, things that you have to practice over and over again to become proficient at. And also combining that with observation skills, combining that with confident mark making and knowing what you're doing when you make that mark, making a mark that looks intentional, not timid, not scratchy, not doodly, but a confident, full of intent mark making on the paper. You're going to be golden. So just practice. Ultimately, it's that easy, yet it's that hard as well. So I don't want to, a lot of times you see a lot of the titles and things, easy secrets, best things I wish I knew, that's all clickbait, right? They tell you to do that on YouTube to get people to click in and look at your stuff. But ultimately, it's just sheer determination, practice, and persistence. So stay at it, don't give up, and get in there and keep working with your skills. So, hey, I've been going on for almost 15 minutes, and I do hope this talk was helpful to some degree. Hey, if you got any value out of today's talk, please give me a like, subscribe, share this thing out to people who you think might be interested in starting a creative journey. I do appreciate it. And if you're wanting free resources, head into the video description. I have a ton of links on my website. Those links, the link in the description will take you over to my website. There's a host of free stuff you can download. Loomis method, Riley method, Bridgman. I think there's some watercolor stuff out there as well to download. It's all free. And if you think I'm doing anything on this channel, providing these free tutorials for everybody to learn from, please consider giving me a $5 a month membership on Patreon. That will help immensely. And I also have 2 digital products out on Gumroad, a 15-week calendar of projects through the course of 15 weeks the type of things I'd have my students doing through Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule that would lead you to hopefully be, at a beginner level, getting to an intermediate level. And then I have an expanded version of that calendar, which is more of a syllabus with like brief goals and objectives for each thing, and a list of videos that you can watch from my my library of projects and things that I've done so far on YouTube. And yeah, get out there and buy that. Would much appreciate any support that you're giving me there. And I'll see you in the next Talking Watercolor.